role-play partner on stage as well. Thank you. Hey, Tim.
Hey.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. So why are you here today?
Well, Julia, it's to talk about your performance. Interview problems.
Yeah.
A few statistics were kind of off. 1 million is not equal to 1. Things like that. It's been causing a few issues. Nothing major. A couple of catastrophic shutdowns. But other than that, nothing really major.
So the spreadsheet doesn't come out right, and it's caused the...
Yeah, exactly. We put the figures through, they just weren't lining up right. So what can you do to make sure that you get those figures lining up right the next time? It's causing an issue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can take a second look and see if I can do anything about it. But that's how, that's how the data is coming.
So the data comes in that way wrong? These figures are just wrong.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of,
So it doesn't look right on the report.
It doesn't look right in the report because you go through to the calculations, they're wrong. Every single one of the calculations is wrong on the report.
I wonder. No, I think Excel usually works pretty well with those formulas.
I don't know what it is. Maybe
Yeah.
Excel, get a new program because it ain't working.
Sometimes it got some bugs.
True.
Yeah. But if it's just simple, I remember the spreadsheet was just basically a simple algorithm of adding things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't, the numbers
Didn't
didn't
turn out
crunch.
right.
Yeah, the numbers didn't crunch right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I will take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But is there anything you can do to make sure it doesn't happen going forward? Because this is the 5th time it's happened now.
Wow, does that mean that maybe I need some help?
Yeah, either that or we're going to have to start talking your career. You're talking to your problem.
I guess I'm not an accountant material.
Guess not.
Yeah.
So is that your resignation or?
I'm just wondering, do you see me as an accountant material?
Right now, I'm not quite sure where I see you.
I'm here.
Yeah, I know, but why? Got to figure out some way to solve this problem because they just can't keep happening like that.
I understand. So how can I make up for this?
I don't know. That's why I came in here to ask you.
What about, well, I guess first of all, I'll probably need some help to make sure that things are going well.
Yeah. Can you figure out why all those figures were wrong? I mean, 5 times.
Oh, I would love to. I can spend the next 3 days to make sure I figure that out.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you get back to me and let me know exactly what went wrong and why, so we can make sure it doesn't happen again? Like I said, 5 times is just too much.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So,
But at the same time, since I did this wrong for 5 times, I may need someone to tell me to double check it.
yeah, we may need somebody to replace you. Yeah, we're thinking about that. But
yes.
right now,
Is that the only way?
pretty much. I mean, if we got to get somebody else to do your job, what are you here for?
So was that really a spreadsheet thing, or you just hate me?
Well, personally, I hate you.
Really?
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter what's the number on the spreadsheet. You hate me, no matter what.
Yeah, well, some people you like, some people you hate. This is the way it goes.
Okay. Well, since you're the boss, I don't see I have any other choice.
Have a good job. Your next job.
I'll go pick up my stuff.
Pick up your stuff. Get out of here. You're gone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good luck.
Cool.
It was fun. Me either. So when facing a verbal criticism, what would you do? There are three ways or guarantees to get you stuck. One is withdrawing. I just run away. Now I'm gonna talk. I can't take it. Oh, did you do that? Ever do that to me? And just left the room and feel hurt. Never defend myself. Have low self-esteem and going down from there. The second way to get stuck is rationalizing, trying to talk my way out of it, try to figure out exactly why, and as all you can hear is not necessarily the spreadsheet's fault. It's because my boss hates me. That was down the line issue. Doesn't matter how much tactics, strategies I have that I can fix the spreadsheet. It's not gonna help me. You just want to get rid of me. Or the third way of guarantee you get stuck when facing a criticism is counterattacking. I could have attacked back and say, I'm gonna sue you. You cannot discriminate your employee. How can you do that? But that's not helping. That's not helping. My point is, there is a way to respond non-defensively. And there is a 5-step process that can help you to diffuse the verbal criticism and be able to understand and uncover the underlying issue of where the criticism is coming from. The 5 steps are listen, acknowledge, ask questions, paraphrase, and agree with the truth. The first step, of course, always listen. If I'm busy defending myself, talking about the things I want to talk about, I will never be able to hear what my boss was saying and understand what's going on. Acknowledge what was the problem. Well, the spreadsheet was wrong 5 times. That's what it happened. That's also related to the last point, agree with the truth. If that's what it happened, agree with it. I may not agree with the interpretation of the truth. Well, it's wrong because I'm not competent, or it's wrong because there's some other reason. Maybe the team was not offering proper support, maybe the input data was wrong, maybe there's other interpretation. But agree what was wrong. Okay, the reality is the report was wrong. I don't have to agree I'm the one responsible, but I can agree with what happened and think and go from there. The third point, ask questions. Now, what exactly is going on here? How can I make it up for you? Ask a curious question and see, hey, is there anything else I could have done? And the question also helps us to show that I truly care about this situation. Not say I'm trying to attack here. Paraphrase. That's go hand in hand with the listening. I listen to what my boss was saying and repeat, paraphrase part of what he was saying and confirm that, okay, this is where we are, and that helped with the progress of the conversation. And at the end, I was able to uncover the underlying truth, which was, well, yeah, there may be problems with the report, maybe there's some other issues, but the elephant in the room is, my boss hates me. He wanted to fire me, so there's nothing else I could have done. Couple of tips here. In addition to the 5-step process, is to remain calm. Don't get too emotional and jumping up and down when you're facing the criticism. Don't take it personally. It may or may not be my fault. Yes, the report was wrong, but hey, again, what exactly was going on? We need to dive in deeper to investigate. Use nonverbal listening skill, with a relatively open body language and the last but not least, show respect for your opponent. He had a good reason to bring this up to me. We spent time together in the room to talk about this issue. Well, conflict is not a bad thing. Like a lot of time, many new things, exciting things coming out of the resolution of a conflict. The key is really be able to face it and have a way to facilitate a conversation and uncover the real truth behind the conflict. So in closing, I will invite you, whenever you face the conflict, respond non-defensively and follow the 5-step process. Listen, acknowledge, ask questions, paraphrase, and agree with truth. I think you'll be able to diffuse any criticism that's coming at you and be able to understand what is going on in the room. Mr. Toastmaster.
About the presentation was the five things, and you reiterated: listen, acknowledge, ask questions, paraphrase, and agree with the truth. That's what I like, because I wrote it down and something I can remember, and you went through examples of that. Growth opportunity. The one thing that I would suggest, when you did your role playing with Tim, and you just out of the blue came up, so you hate me, it was like, well, I took it as, where did that come from? That had nothing to do with the spreadsheet being wrong, and so I was kind of lost. I guess the purpose was to get to, they hated me, but the way you transitioned in there was not smooth. So I would just say a smoother way to transition into the real reality of why he wants you to leave would be better. Thank you.
You do. Julia, thank you for your speech. It's such a very important topic, and that was one of the things I liked very much. You chose this important topic. And I also liked the tips. Remain calm, be professional, treat people with respect, and so on. I like those very much. And they stuck, I didn't even have to write those down. They stuck in my head. Growth opportunities, again, relate to the role play, as LaShonda pointed out. I originally didn't even see Tim as offering verbal criticism so much as feedback, although it then got kind of harsh. With hating and you're fired. But initially, as I started writing my notes, this was not verbal criticism, this was some very useful feedback that your manager or boss was giving you. And I didn't see in the role play the examples that were then reflected later in the speech. So that's where I struggled.
Really a very informative topic, so thank you, and we certainly echo what LaShonda said. We definitely learned those 5 steps how to diffuse criticism. Just a couple of comments. The title of your speech is Diffusing Verbal Criticism. So I think that it would have been more effective is at the end you were not fired and you were able to diffuse is strong and very effective verbal criticism. So it shows that it is an effective way of diffusing. And then the only other comment I have is I felt the role play was kind of animated, was not natural. It was just, I'm not sure if it was rehearsed between you and Tim or just spontaneous.
It's spontaneous.
So maybe because it was spontaneous, you did not know what he's going to say. So maybe to take the pressure from you, I would just suggest some kind of system where you could talk about, maybe rehearse it 1 or 2 times before, so it would look like it is natural rather than you're struggling for it. Very informative, thank you.
Speech, I only saw part of the confrontation with Herb Walsh, and I was wondering if the confrontation was about a report, and if it was, then it would be diffusing miscommunication rather than criticism. I thought maybe that might have been a better title. But I just love those 5 topics. I mean, those 5 processes that you can use, because you can use this in everyday life because this stuff is always going on. So I really appreciate being able to respond, acknowledge, listen, and paraphrase what your boss is saying, and then show respect and remain calm. I'll always remember that. Thank you for that speech.
When you started this, I thought that you were crazy because you seem to be just saying the kind of things that are only going to make somebody get madder and madder at you. The data came in wrong, or you know, you started getting really whiny, and you said is that the only way, and was that really a spreadsheet thing, or do you hate me? And you seem to be avoiding the fact that you had in fact done wrong. And so I was thinking, this is the worst speech ever, because if I was your boss, I'd be getting madder and madder. And then I thought, oh, she's showing us the bad way. Genius! All the things not to do. But I think maybe you weren't.
No.
Sorry about that. And I did suggest that after I thought that you were doing bad things, that you would say, now that's what not to do. Because you didn't admit that, oh, these are wrong, I had no idea, I'm terribly sorry, please tell me more. And then, could you give me some help? You're the one that's got the problem, and your boss is supposed to come up with help for you? As a boss, I would have to say, you would be pushing my buttons, so I would have to be, I will be participating with you in the next one, or hopefully I will learn how to keep my temper when such an employee shows up. But also, you gave us 5 steps, which I really liked. And then you followed it with a bunch of other things like remaining calm and stuff like that. And it was a lot to remember. I would suggest that maybe you would give us a handout and say, you don't have to write this all down, I'll give you a handout so that you provide that information to us. I did think it was a good role play setup because at least in my line of work that is something that comes up often. And I've had a lot of employee problems this week, so it rang home.
Thing to do the role playing, and it usually either goes really great or doesn't come off quite so well. I'll keep my comments brief. I've actually done a lot of work on assertiveness training and training others in this. If you go online, there's a lot of good stuff if this is something you're interested in working on personally or delivering this again, on how to set it up and kind of give people the right prompts so that they know where to go with it. Because there's a kind of criticism down the one hand where it's just feedback, and then you can't really apply the techniques as well. And then it tends to jump right to totally off-the-wall stuff, whereas most of our problems in life are kind of in between, in that there's a grain of truth to the matter that we have to deal with, and then there's also a misperception about it, and that's become a bigger issue. So that's my input. Thank you, though. Very brave.
Go ahead. Julia, Shannon has pointed out, it's a different approach to give the negative example first. Very organized, very open up there, you're comfortable. Thinking about doing it, challenges and thoughts for development. If we had more time, it would have been nice to make something relevant. You come up there with maybe a Toastmaster situation or something to be more relevant to people. I was making something up. But if you came up and said, this is what I want to do because it's going to fit these things, and you really planned it out and gave me that would help a lot. Benefits, making clear what the benefits are. And maybe they're obvious to people, but say them up front. You know, you use this, you're going to get it. The problem with opening with a negative is it sets the tone. So the whole tone was set negative. Now you can try to get away with that by doing a positive at the end, but basically what really the result is people finish thinking, okay, you have no clue how to do any of these things, so you're just kind of, you know, showing the bad thing, and then we don't know how to do it, and you don't know how to do it. Why am I listening to you at the final end? So when you're doing this thing, you got to finish up with a positive. Now let's do it the right way, just to show that you know what's going on, and most importantly, so people can see what the right way is. The problem with doing it the wrong way first is people tend to remember by primacy and recency. So the first thing they hear is negative, they're going to think negative. The last thing they hear is, well, remembering all the negative things, because they don't have an example to go at the end, they're going to think that too. So different, adventurous, but if you're going to do bookends, got to have the other book.
Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Julia, I must commend you. I personally have done this manual. It's a challenging manual, but it's a manual that has personally grew me. All of us will be encountering criticism. Even though I was so tempted to bring Shannon up here and then you ask her questions, because that's exactly what she gave me, was in a loving setting, of course. But we encounter that every single day. Now this is one time I would have perhaps followed the recommended format in the book. I would. To give a general lecture, which you're going to be talking about, covering the things you don't want to do, balancing out what you do want to do, then do the role play. And the role play, just directions by the book, even though we're thinking out the box, requires that you don't practice so that you can actually learn it by doing it. So I would have probably did the lecture first, instead of at the end. Then do the role
Asking
play.
for the role play first.
No, ask for the lecture first.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then after the role play, you converse with your partner how they felt. How Tim felt about it. How you felt about it. Then we did open it up to the audience. We just do it as a round table. So yes, we do bring in the audience in some of our cases. But anyway, but that's how the book recommends it. Because see, then we would have been looking for when you were role playing. We would have heard the questions being asked. We would have heard how you diffused it. If we sort of knew up front, at least that's what the book recommends. At least that's how I was read.
I was really wrong then.
It's okay. We love each other. We learn by doing it.
Yes. Yep.
But I love this man. I like the fact that you were calm, and that's important when you are diffusing criticism. Because when people get loud and it gets escalated, nothing gets accomplished. Now, what I would have loved to have seen you do is when you got the "I hate you" statement. That's personal. That's personal. I think I would have handled it this way. Acknowledge, like you did, acknowledge the truth. So, Tim, you hate me. Tim, why do you hate me? And that would have been into a different conversation. Because apparently you brought up a good point. No matter how well you would have done the spreadsheet, if the bottom line is somebody dislikes you for an illogical reason, the way you ask the questions, you listen well, that's how you start stripping away things, and you know if it's really a work-related issue that be corrected, or it's just something different. And then after that, I think I would have suggested, well, you know what, Tim, why don't we both agree to talk to your manager? That would have diffused it even more. But anyway, but those are my comments, but I love this manual, and I love anybody who does this manual because it's very challenging. And personally, as my walk as a division governor, I use this manual a lot. Mr. Toastmaster.